Hello and welcome to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I am Jessica, the designer and coach behind Snickerdoodle Knits. In this video, I'm going to talk all about my Gracefully Shawl, which is the shawl that I'm wearing here. It was originally designed as a collaboration with Tippy Tree Yarns for the Grace Kelly Icon Mystery Knit Along, which was hosted in July of 2021. If you're watching this in the future, that was just last month. And so she provided 4 50-gram skeins of fingering weight yarn, and then I chose the order they went in and put together a design for it. So she gave me some inspiration photos, and from the photos I felt like the design really needed to be elegant but simple. I felt like it shouldn't have any lace, but it definitely needed some interest through texture. So that's really what this shawl is all about, is texture. It's really fun to see the different personalities the shawls can take based on the yarn you used. If you check out some of the projects, like some of the test knitters use some very bright, vibrant colors, and that really makes for a fun shawl instead of this more delicate, feminine looking shawl. So there's a lot of opportunity for customization that way. So let's go ahead and get into it. The shawl really consists of 3 textures. They're a lot of fun to knit. If you don't like bobbles, of course, that's going to be your least favorite part, but I'll talk a little bit once we get into that about other things you can do. But these other textures, there's a bit of slip stitches, there's a bit of catching floats. It's really interesting and fun and not very difficult, but it does require a bit of concentration on most of it. So it's a very engaging knit, not something that is just going to be mindless. If you're having to be in a conversation, watching kids and all of that, it's not just a mindless knit, but it is a very fun and engaging knit. So it starts with the slips honeycomb stitch up here, and then it goes into this trellis stitch, and then it goes into the bobbles, and then the honeycomb and trellis are repeated. So this is the slipped honeycomb stitch, and then this is the trellis stitch down here. Now if you do have extra yarn left over at the end, you could continue to work this trellis stitch section to make your shawl longer as well. Of course, when I was designing the shawl, I had to make sure that there would be plenty of yarn for all of the knitters, and so as designers we are supposed to include 10% extra yarn in our recommendations. So I do have some yarn left over, but I wanted to make sure all knitters would be able to get the full section out of their 50-gram skein. Then as you can see, I went ahead and added tassels at the end of mine, and the pattern I say if you have extra yarn, you can do fringe, you can add tassels. It's a fun way to add another little bit of personality to the shawl. So now on to this bobble section. I've included in the pattern a bobble tutorial that includes knitting backwards, so you don't have to flip your fabric every single time you're working a little row of bobbles, which I think makes it go a lot faster and a bit more enjoyable. But if you still don't like bobbles, one of the mystery knit along knitters, or 2 of them actually, used beads instead of the bobbles. So just everywhere there was a bobble, they just put a bead there instead, and that's really pretty. Some of them just did, or one of them just did a garter section, and somebody else was doing kind of a modified bobble where they just work the first row of the bobble and then keep going, and it kind of becomes like a lacy look. So there's definitely ways you can customize that section if you don't like bobbles. But I did hear from a lot of the knitters that they loved the bobbles, even if they don't normally love bobbles, just like the look of it. They loved it with this shawl. And others that said that they'd never tried bobbles before and loved it, especially with the tutorials in the pattern. So it's definitely things to consider. Let's see. So the shawl in general, of course, it's a triangular shape. It started up here at the top and then worked down. And it's a pretty lightweight shawl. It's basically 2 skeins of normal yarn. Like usually hand-dyed yarn comes in 100-gram skeins. So this is 200 grams. but it's nice and lightweight. I think it'll be great for summer if you don't have super hot summers. Great for summer evenings if it cools down in the evening where you are, and of course amazing for spring and fall, and even in the winter, just as a fun accessory to dress up an outfit. Now, as far as resources for this pattern, I do have a blog post that talks all about yarn recommendations or suggestions that I have. So of course I knit this in Tippy Tree Yarns Super Sack that she had dyed specifically for this mystery knit along. These colors are no longer available. So in that blog post I've put some yarn combinations from her website that you could definitely put together. And then I've also included some fingering weight yarns that you could substitute instead. That would be at a lower price point. And of course you can use the color inspiration from everything else that I've provided for some color inspo if you need some. And then within the pattern itself, if any of these techniques are new to you, I've included tutorials for each of the techniques, so that really walks you through the steps of how to do each technique step by step. And I had really great feedback from both the test knitters and the mystery knit along knitters, that a lot of these textures were new to them, but they didn't have any trouble with them because of the tutorials. So if you have any questions about that, of course, check out those tutorials, and I'm always available for pattern support. I thought there was something else I was going to say about what's in the pattern. My patterns always include written instructions and charted instructions, so you have both of those available to you. And I'm not thinking of anything else there. So the pattern is available on Ravelry, Payhip, Lovecrafts, and my website currently, but what I will link down below is a pattern information page that's located on my website, and it always has the links to everywhere you can purchase the pattern. So that page has all of the information on the yarns, on the knitting experience, the wearing experience, the different accessories you need, the needles, the notions, all of that kind of stuff, as well as some testimonials from some of the knitters. So that page will be linked down below in the description. Just click that and that will take you to where you can purchase the pattern. And if you have any other questions, of course, just let me know. Comment down below, email me, whatever you need. I'm always here to help you. So I hope you are super excited about the Gracefully Shawl. I know it's been getting so much love on Instagram, and so I'm super excited to finally be able to release it to you, and I hope you enjoyed the knitting experience. So if you found this video helpful in just deciding whether or not you want to knit this design, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, like the video, and go ahead and subscribe to the Snickerdoodle Knits channel. I have tutorials, like I've mentioned, for all of the techniques that I include in my patterns, and I also have a video just like this for each and every one of my designs that walks you through what the design is all about before you ever purchase the pattern. So I look forward to seeing you around, and happy knitting!